Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young and I'm one of your sunny, radiant hosts. Joining me as always is our other sunny and radiant host, Beth Martin. Beth, the pleasure as always. What's the crack?
We are sunny and radiant.
I should have burped before I started doing that. I was holding a burp.
I did a big snort right when you started talking, and then I would pinch my nose. Sorry if that came through. Everyone.
It's all right. I was committed
to burping
as soon as I started to I was committed to the intro. So I was like, I'm just not going to stop now. I'll just power through it.
It's like holding your pee.
Yeah. I'm sure nobody would have noticed had I not said anything. Flawless as always.
I'm good.
How you doing?
So I saw you 4 days ago.
You did.
So we were saying before we hopped on here that I would have been super sad at the airport to say goodbye, but I was like, you were just like, I'll talk to you Monday. I'll see you Monday. And I was like, right. So I'm so glad we're doing this.
Yes, me too.
Me too. It's also been many days since I've had a cheese and kimchi toasty. I think I'm gonna have to
That's true.
Yeah, I'm literally on the hunt now for
good kimchi.
They sell it in the stores, so I'm gonna start there, and then probably it won't be the same, and then I'll be like, Andy,
yeah,
I need your little teddy bear glass jars.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Very cute. That I know. At the time, I was just scrambling for any of those jars that I had, and I was like, I don't care what this has on it. I used another one, it didn't have a seal, and got mold in it, and I was gutted. So that was a whole jar was kind of ruined.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
but I know for next time.
Yeah. And then I've been craving curry sauce I'm just on everything. I'm like, oh, I could put curry sauce on that. I could put curry sauce on that. I could dip curry sauce in my curry sauce. I wonder. It's a thing. Yeah, my palate has shifted within a week and a half.
Wow.
And I'm just I want chips, French fries, and curry, and some guy to tell me an amazing story as he serves me.
Oh yeah, truly.
I feel like I should have gotten a photo with that guy.
Yeah. I like cooking a really couple of nice pieces of fish as he was doing it as well.
I should have been recording the entire thing and
yeah, it's true.
That'll live on in infamy.
Unbelievable.
Also, there's a show on Netflix now that I have not watched, but it's so up my alley. It's called, I think, Bodkin, and it's
I've heard about this.
So I watched the intro as I was throwing on makeup for our listeners.
Uh-huh.
You're welcome, everyone.
You're welcome, listeners. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's this story about these two podcasters that are trying to find murders, serial killer thing, and everyone's like, "There's no serial killers in Ireland," and literally one of the shots right at the beginning is the first lock that we went to outside of Bray.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I think it was locked in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
I have the same photo of that, and they're standing
there.
No way. Yeah. So
cool.
I know. So that's my job this week is to watch that and be like, I'm so Irish. I was there.
It's true. I've heard it's great, and I like. Is it Will? What's his name?
He's in everything.
He rules.
He's super funny.
He was MacGruber and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will Forte. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, no, I will. I'm not on Netflix currently, but I feel like I'm really missing out at the minute. I feel like it's time to get back on there because I want to see Baby Reindeer as well.
Oh, okay. Remind me to share some information with you later.
Oh yeah. Okay,
wink, wink, nudge.
That works. Wink, 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 wink.
I'm putting it on my to-do list really quick.
To-do list.
Yes. What's the crack with
you? I think I'm going to pronounce it properly. I went to a festival on Sunday. We're going to get into more detail on that. Celebrating the start of summer.
What do you call it?
Bealtaine.
Nice job.
I think I'm pronouncing it right now.
Someone's
Bealtaine.
mad at you right now, Andy.
Mm-hmm. No, I think I'm doing it right now.
Bealtaine?
Bealtaine? Yeah. Bealtaine? It's supposed to be an amazing listening experience. So it is a festival to celebrate the start of summer. I have friends, two of my good friends. They have been to it a couple of times, and I kept meaning to go. And so glad I went. It was really incredible. Um, Essentially, it was, had the makings, the hallmarks of like kind of a musical festival in a way, but is on like a sacred site. There's a lot of history there. Um, so there were bands playing. There's some fantastic bands, like really incredible. Um, the whole thing is steeped very much in Irish culture, and like a lot of the bands were like a very kind of like Celtic sounds, like certain types of drums and flutes and so on, and just like combinations of instruments that I wouldn't find super common, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just incredible to hear that. There was a wellness stage with not even a stage, just a wellness area with like sound baths and yoga and guided meditation and things like that. Like I didn't end up doing any yoga, but I saw the yoga field, and there must have been between 100, 200 people doing yoga at the same time. It was pretty incredible. There was a guy who told us stories of the area, like took us around the site, a guided tour, and told us stories. So he told us about like fairy trees. He told us about so there's a rock on that piece of land that all the kind of former kings of Ireland had to come to like make their sort of rule official. It was really fascinating, and just a really kind of wonderful experience to be part of, which all sort of culminated in this big bonfire, and like I cut like a pageantry around it. So they had like people on horses like dressed as warriors. They had like a parade that came in. It
I'm
was
dying of jealousy right now. Why didn't I stage like 3 extra
I
days?
know it was, but it's going to happen every year. I think it's something I'm going to make a regular trip to. What
You
was the
should.
really one of the most magical things was, so as the bonfire was lit, because of where we were, which was fairly high up, you had a good view of the kind of lands around there. And there's lots of different places in Ireland that celebrate the start of the summer, so you could see bonfires being lit on different hills. It was very cool.
That's like a
Yeah,
dream of mine because you see it in movies, and I know I've
yeah,
mentioned that. Like, I'm so
yeah. The lights. Oh, it was so
happy for
cool. It
you,
was.
Andy, that you had that
Thank
experience.
you, thank
Do you
you.
see how I'm not
Not,
like, God damn
yeah,
it?
not jealous at all. But it was, and it's like and I know I've talked to you before about like via yoga, getting more in touch with like spiritual side of things and how I feel more of a connection to that as time has went on. It really kind of that experience and that kind of festival really kind of connected me into that in a way that I kind of wasn't anticipating, and it was really kind of fantastic. It really was. Um,
It
there's this. Sorry, go on.
well, it just sounds like it's pulls from like all of the. It's like we talk about mind, body, spirit a lot, and really like when you do not in a lazy way, but when it's just kind of presented to you in a way that's unexpected, not and like not something. Um, I'm not explaining myself
No, I know exactly what you're
well.
saying.
It's like the
Well, it takes you by
best. Yeah,
surprise. Yeah,
exactly.
but yeah, you're not because
So you have no
it is some
preconceived notions or like I'm gonna have
exactly.
this experience. It's just like the best.
It just happens, and that certainly wasn't something I was expecting to get, but it really was, such a sort of wonderful connection to all of that, and yeah, it was just a fantastic experience, really good vibes, just lots of good people about, just like one of those places that like attracted sort of, outsiders is a poor word, but I think people would know what I mean if I described, people as that. So there was like all sorts of people from all over the world, but there was just people, who'd brought along instruments and were playing like didgeridoos or horns or like, there's a kind of a steel drum thing,
Hmm.
like a smaller kind of version, a handpan sort
I
of
have
people
one.
playing that. Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Is it hard to
do.
play?
No, and mine you can play with your hands or they're little like
Yeah.
mallets you can play with, and it actually each sound depending on I think it's called the quantum, and
Okay.
it's got 7 tones, and each tone matches to your chakras, and so you're
Oh,
listening to it, but it's actually like you know if people believe in this sort of thing, it's realigning your chakras just by like
interesting.
hearing it with your ear.
Like honestly, I think, and I've thought about this before because I've always loved the sound of like steel drums and music, and they're so
Same.
rarely kind of used.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, and I've talked about learning an instrument. I think that sort of thing, percussion's also kind of spoken to me, but I don't really like the idea of actual drums. So maybe something like that could be good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll show you a
But
photo of mine and we'll see if we're talking about the same instrument, but I think we
yeah,
are. Yeah.
um, but there was also fairy trees. There was fairy houses. I sent Beth pictures of
Like,
the
but
fairy
they
houses.
weren't, I don't even know how to, they were like teardrop shaped, but
Yes,
inside they had actually the fairies, right?
really
Really live
incredible detail.
lavishly,
Yeah. And there
well
was one like it was a
decorated.
fairy kitchen. There was one that was a fairy
Yeah.
kitchen, and there was, I think there was only two I got photos of, but yeah, they were so incredible. Also, and everybody will be pleased to know, I wore my Utilikilt again. I love it. It's the best thing ever. Really, really love it. um,
Is it life changing?
it really is life changing. Like, and also because like that was a full day wear, so it was like I had it when it was warm. I had it in the evening. And my friends were, were like, "Are you cold?" And I'm like, "I'm really not actually. It's really kind of holding the temperature well. I'm really kind of liking it." So yeah, it's as weather allows it, I'm essentially going to be wearing it all summer. I think. So yeah,
As it should be.
as it should be, as it was written, so it shall be,
And it was funny because I was flying, because I'm interrupting you and talking about me.
and it's all right.
I was on my way out. I was flying British Airways domestic to Heathrow,
Mm-hmm.
and like I saw three people wearing their tartan kilts. So I'm
Oh,
assuming
really?
they were
Nice.
probably like
Wow.
going to Scotland, or is that more of a Scottish thing?
It is, but it's funny because like I noticed quite not. There was guys in sort of more historical garb at the festival as well, and they were wearing kilts too. So
Okay.
I think it is it's both really. I think definitely more Scottish, but there definitely is a bit of a connection here as well.
And now your tartan is khaki.
Yeah, which I can live with. Like it's a color I like. Um, but it's so funny actually. It's kind of, and I think like even wearing it. When I wore it when we went out to Belfast last week,
Yeah.
and I saw people like going, what's he wearing? And I overheard people at the festival being like, "Is he wearing a dress?" And I just kept walking. I did hear one people going, "Is he wearing a dress?" And then somebody going, "It looks good actually." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll take both of those
Right.
comments." So yeah, so it was great. But yeah, I mean, like I can't speak highly enough of this festival. It was such an amazing experience. Family friendly, just completely different to anything else I've done before. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I sort of saying to Beth, my hope is because it's a family. She should come again
Yeah.
for that, and maybe bring the fam next time.
Yep. Yep.
Be rad.
It
So
would be.
yeah,
It would be.
so yeah, I had a
I'm
blast.
so glad. And
Yeah, it was
like,
really good.
especially sometimes it's like kind of like I was saying last week about you just need like a, a change of scenery to light your fire a little bit, or
Yeah.
like a change of experience, like something to just kind of like, oh, right, like all is well in the world in this moment.
Yeah.
It's just a nice
I
time for
like
like to readjust yourself, like
it is.
spiritually.
I think that's so true. Actually, and I think as well. Because I've noticed certainly April was in terms of was a kind of a month where I wasn't doing very much. I was saving money, but like I wasn't getting out very much, and it really I noticed the difference in not doing that and how much I kind of need to do that. So I think that's gonna be good in terms of lighting a fire under me to find other things, make some more money, be able to, provide for myself a bit more reasonably going forwards,
Yeah. So
So
you
just to
can
like
do the things that
exactly.
keep that fire burning.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Good.
But yeah. But so I mean based on this and I chatted to Beth about this, based on this summer festival, we thought we would talk about summer, generally how we feel about it, our experiences of it, how it differs in terms of the UK and Ireland versus America. And we haven't discussed this, but what I have decided to name the episode. I mean, we can next this.
Okay.
We can workshop this.
All right, let's argue.
Is Lovin Summer.
Lovin
So
Summer.
it's like summer loving, but it's reversed,
Yeah.
right?
I was going with Summertime in the Living's Easy.
Oh, that's good as well.
So-
Okay, so you'll find out whenever this episode's posted which one
Which
won.
one? What did you say? Summertime? What? Summer Lovin'?
Mine is
Summer?
Lovin' Summer,
Okay.
so that's a reverse of Summer Lovin'. Right, very clever. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing with this horrible tempera. It's basically like a giant. I'm writing in crayon.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll be
perfect.
able to read that.
That is the medium of choice for Bendy podcast
Correct.
listeners and
Crayon.
hosts. Yeah.
Crayola, please sponsor us.
Yeah, oh, please.
Okay.
But yeah, so just to move on to our subject today. Oh, sorry, before we do, I suppose I'm getting ahead of myself. We haven't discussed if there's what's occurring, actually. I feel like I'm jumping ahead.
No, you're good. I'm updating the website with some new photos of our travels and us being silly and fun and
nice.
So yeah, and then I've also added a review page. I'm saying I've already done this, even though I haven't, but by the time this episode airs, this will have happened. So, meaning like probably tonight. But so thank you for all of the wonderful friends and fans that have sent us feedback. So that is, I'm just adding that to the website. So that people can see what we're about. And if anybody would like to leave us a 5-star review or a written review or 5 stars and a written review, you can now do that.
All of the above.
It's just on the review page on our website. And yeah, check it out because you can see some of the beautiful places in Ireland. I think I may just start like a page of just photos of us like doing our thing.
Yeah, like and on our continued quest, in all things Utilikilt, and we talked about trying to get Utilikilt sponsorship. So one of my friends took photos of me in Utilikilt. I've got quite a few
at
that festival, so I will send them through to you.
Please do. I'll put it on our socials and then tag them and see if they'll want to.
Yeah.
Have a chit chat.
So, yeah, they're good. They do look good. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, sponsor us, Utilikilt, please.
Well, and the fact that, I mean, you've already left them a glowing review, many of them, but now you actually worn one overnight, basically.
That's true.
I
should actually write them a review. Yes, I should actually write them a review, and I will do that for sure.
Okay.
But yeah. So I think we can move on to our subject for the day. Lovin' Summer, as Andy's calling it for now. So
I love it when you refer to yourself in the third person.
Yeah, it's like The Rock, right? I'm just like The Rock in every other way you can imagine. I guess probably as a way to kick things off, I was going to ask generally, I know it's pretty easy to go, oh yeah, I love the summer, but what are your feelings about the summer? How do you kind of prepare for it? What was your average sort of summer experience? Any kind of thoughts on that?
So, do you want to start with what summer's like in each of our countries?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna bounce around a little bit.
Yep.
I'll come back to childhood and typical summer, but in our country, there's no school for about 2.5, 3 months. So children
Same here.
Okay, so children are done, and basically everyone loves summer.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously the experience is so radically different across the US because you have the full gamut of
weather.
Weather. Yeah, exactly.
Heat, humidity. Yeah.
It's true. It's going to be
tornadoes.
better.
That was a good burp.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The mic picked that up nicely, did it?
I give that a 7.
So, hooray. So like yeah, like, and I think so. Yeah, I think we all love summer too, but I think like our experience, like, I speak for my experience in the north, would be like, by and large, our best months tend to be at the start and at the end of summer. So May's good. Your September's pretty good. The months that you would typically have off in school would be July and August.
Okay.
They can be a bit of a crapshoot. You will sometimes get nice weeks or nice even a handful of days in there, but like, but when Beth was here at the start of May, and I say May is often good, we had a lovely week of weather for the most part.
We had the best. Like, it didn't
really
rain
fantastic
at all.
No, and some really kind of hot days, which again are few and far between. But then
I'm air quoting hot.
Yes, yeah. Not like American hot, but like hot for us, a scorcher.
It was adorable.
An absolute
it
scorcher.
was adorable because we went hiking and you guys were like freaking out about like it's gonna be sunny. I might sunburn, And
yeah.
It's a real thing. And I was like, how many like real sunny days do you have? And you were like, I don't know, 12 or 13.
Yeah, I would say that'd be pretty average on a year.
But it's like the weather changes so fast.
It does.
So
it really does. Because like even today, it is grey, overcast. It has been raining all day. So, and like, sadly, that's fairly typical. I mean, I feel like I paint the weather in this country in a really bad light, because I think that, like, I walk dogs a lot, so I'm outdoors a lot, and I don't think I get rained on that often, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's like, but it is overcast a lot, and if it rains, it rarely kind of rains that hard, but it's, rain in the summer is a typical experience here,
I asked Andy, I was like, because he's got this really nice backyard with a little pond and some fruit trees, and I was like, do you like have parties outside? And he's like, no, the weather's too unpredictable.
It is.
So,
and I mean, like, I have had parties where
go ahead,
where we have like ended up outside because it has been nice, but you can't plan for it at all. You cannot. So yeah, it's like, and it's, I think, being the position that I'm in these days, it is nicer. I kind of know the summer well enough to kind of know when I can do things a bit more often, like as in outdoors events. But I remember like being in school, and our exam season was often in May into June, and that would be when the nicest weather was, and you would be indoors revising and going, I want to be outside in the sun, and you couldn't be. It was heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting here. Summers started. I mean, obviously there's like the summer season where there's the first day of summer, but for us here in Southern California, 45 minutes from the border of Mexico, it's probably started, what is it, March through October probably is really like, no, November. Sorry.
It's heartbreaking.
No, that's like pool weather.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's,
I mean, we get like,
I'm like, it's kind of like I live in the land of eternal summer, but we don't have seasons. So it's like, it's cold. It just gets like colder in the morning. But like this morning, for the first time, I was able to like get up. We have a little sunroom that has no heat.
Nice.
And
it's no heating. Yeah.
So it's an indoor outdoor room kind of thing where it's like it's got a door, but like there's no heat, but it's like it's got windows and a doggy door. But that's kind of where I was doing yoga, because I really don't have anywhere to go if I get up early and everyone's still asleep, where I'm not making noise and like the bird won't start chirping or whatever. So I went out there this morning and I was like, it's warm enough for me to start, like, if I get up at 5 a.m. I can have like quiet time for a couple hours and do yoga and write in my journal and like be my super awesome weird self. And that happened this morning. So
good. Yeah.
So it's like, it's nice.
One of the things I was going to ask, where you are, is there like months in the year that are unbearably hot? I mean, there's there times in the summer that's too much. And how
Yeah,
long does
like
that period sort of last for?
Yeah, June, July, August can be June, July. Yeah, June and July are really bad.
Okay.
Like 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I don't know what that is Celsius.
Yeah, that's
Um,
high 30s, I
yeah.
think.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So you're like. Do you guys have crock pots where
Yes, we
you
do.
cook things very slowly? That's kind of what
Yeah.
you're doing. So like
I love
there
it.
are days where I will drive to pick up the kids instead of walking because it's too goddamn hot.
Yes,
And
fair enough.
they'll like they it's almost like instead of rain, and it's interesting, their school, there are no hallways
Hmm, hmm.
because they don't need,
Oh, yeah, they can just go
they
outdoors.
just, so they
Wow.
eat lunch outside, they do a lot of their lessons outside. Like when you see their school, it doesn't look like anything, it looks like a bunch of like, you know, trailers with
Like
air
porta
con-
cabins. Yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah, exactly, with air conditioners on them, but they don't need, it never rains here. I mean, we've had a really weird year, but like it never rains here, so they don't need that kind of thing. It's like an
That's
outdoor,
wow.
like California outdoor malls. We don't have
Yeah, I've
mall.
seen a few.
Yeah, so it's not like a mall that you walk into, like the Mall of America or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just sort of like a outdoor street. Anyways, I'm not trying
Not jealous at
to
all.
gloat here. Like Andy and I were
No, no, it's
talking about why it's so fucking expensive to live here. It's because
yes,
the weather's so
because
nice
of that.
and everybody, yeah, wants to, be where the weather is nice.
Like, and I mean, I think, and I've kind of the stage in my life, especially as I've got older, where weather is not the be all and end all. Like, it kind of upsets me whenever weather's, I'm going to an event and like the bad weather ruins that event because it's outdoors. That's the only thing that really kind of bothers me in any major way. Like, and of course you acclimatize to stuff, and like I think, by and large, because it is pretty neutral throughout the year, like it does get cold in the winter, but not super cold, and although it gets warm, it doesn't get incredibly warm. There's a nice sort of middle sort of area through line that I think is quite comforting, and that I have really kind of grown to, whenever you do get a nice day, or even you get like it's such a good opportunity to, like, go out with the dogs, go out with some friends and things like that. It's and I think it's a common dream for people who live here to, escape to somewhere with nicer weather, do you know what I mean, and live in
Mm-hmm.
that sort of environment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's less important to me as I've got older,
Mm-hmm.
certainly.
And I've heard people here, say that they miss seasons and they miss,
Yeah.
the, and we do get some of that, but like, the change of the leaf color and,
Yeah.
you know, do you guys have seasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Okay. And we did in Oregon as well. So, so it is very different being somewhere that really just has two.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so far I'm not really complaining.
No, I'd say not.
um,
Like
you go,
uh
go.
No, no, no. I was just I think, as I say, I think, one of the things you talked about multiple times when you were here is that, like, one of the upsides to that is that, like, I mean, we talked about all the things that, like, try to kill you in hot
Yeah.
environments.
Everything is trying to kill you here.
Yeah, both plant life and animal life
Yeah.
that are potentially lethal,
Yeah.
and we have none of that here. So it's like,
He was like, we have
there's
badgers.
upsides.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like,
exactly.
no cougars, no, like here it's cougars, mountain lions, scorpions,
Yeah.
rattlesnakes, ticks, and then the plants also.
Yep.
We found Star got like it's called the foxtail in her
Uh
paw,
huh.
and what they'll do, this little stupid like seed, very
Mm-hmm.
smart, will work its way into your skin, and it's barbed, kind of like the backwards barbs.
Oh yeah.
So it just kind of like works its way in through the paw, and then it'll just find its way to like an organ and kill you.
What a
Yay! And
nightmare.
then yeah, but then the body falls and then the plant gets to grow, kind of thing. But that's just, it's like I, we've got this green space behind us. We've got a creek running. The dog cannot go back there right now because I don't want to pay another $500 to get a foxtail extracted from her sweet little
Wow.
puppy pad. So
I like.
Yeah.
You know, dogs aren't exactly like, better be careful here. They're
Right.
like, yeah,
Awesome, run in.
here's something. It hurt me before. Did this hurt me before? Maybe let's go and get it anyway. Love
Um.
them.
So, can we talk about childhood summer memories?
Yeah.
What are some of your... So, you took me to a little town where you said that you had spent some time. I talked to your sister about it too. I was like, we went there. She's like, oh, we had summer. That's like our summer place.
Yes. I think that was one of the things. I mean, like, so I'll talk a little bit about mine, but like I'll talk about, you know, I want to like maybe ask, you know, because you live in different parts of the US, whether this was like a typical experience for you. But oftentimes we would, you know, want to get away and do something in the summer, but you know, having a family is expensive, so it's hard to like take, you know, big trips all the time. So like often we would go to Portrush, which is the area that I took you to. That was a good place to go to because it had
Water
like
World.
a water park. Yeah, water world. Yes, water park called
Not
Water World.
the Kevin Costner Water World.
Sadly not. If only.
Did I tell you I saw the Water World show at Universal?
I have seen it too. It's incredible.
Epic. And they
really
used, from what I understand, someone correct me, but I think they used stuff from the actual movie for the set there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's really fantastic.
It is.
Yes, no, it's very good. I'm trying to think if Waterworld, the theme park in Portrush, predated Waterworld the movie.
I'm sure it did.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
They have a lawsuit in their in their hands.
Right.
Anyway, so like we would have went up there because it was nice. There was beaches there. I'd say there was a water park. There was a load of stuff. There was also and such a crucial part of like my childhood and formative in terms of who I am now. It had like lots of arcades. So like, you know, I would be given coins and I would go in. I would play like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game and, you know, just hang out in the arcade for a while and just have like an amazing time. And I had friends, sometimes, you know, they had like access to a house up there and we would go up and spend time with my friend, and again we do the same sort of thing. But like it's filled with like holiday homes. It's also like riddled with caravans. Because then there was a question I wanted to have for you. Like, there's also caravan parks there, and caravans are such a common thing in this country for people just to take them to beach areas, nowhere too far, probably within about an hour reach, depending on the person.
In the States, that's a trailer.
Yeah, trailer. Okay, yeah. And like, are they? Because I mean, we saw the both the kind of mobile ones, and we saw the stationary caravans or trailers. And are they common, or would motorhomes be more common for you guys?
So, we call so in Ireland the mobile trailers are ritzy and nice, and it's like it's in a location where there's a view and you can walk to the beach.
Yeah.
Here we call them trailer parks.
Yes. Okay.
And it's more low income housing.
That's interesting.
But
than an upscale, rather than a portable holiday home type thing.
Right.
Yes, okay.
But a lot of them have like the locations where they have these trailer parks are oftentimes really, 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 I mean, you know, some developer would love to go in there and rip it all down and put up like $4 million homes. So, you know, I was telling Andy, you can buy one of those here closest to the beach for, you know, $300 and something thousand US. But the monthly like fee for leasing the space that the trailer's on is like $4,000 American. And it's just,
Who's that money going to? Like some land baron, who's just wow, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love it; it's horrible, horrifying, but like unsurprising nonetheless.
But then, in terms of caravans or like mobile trailers, those are big. A lot of people use. There's like pop up. Yeah, it's a huge thing. Like tent camping is huge here in the summer, and a lot of people have motorhomes.
I suppose that's it. I mean, like people do camp tents here as well. Don't get me wrong, but it's because of the colder weather.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's probably doesn't happen quite as much, which is that's an interesting one. Like so, I mean, would that have been your experience when you were younger? Would you have like packed up a car and traveled to like a beach somewhere, or would you have went further afield for your like summer trips?
So we had a beach house in North Carolina until we moved
Nice.
to Oregon. And so like my summer memories are because my parents worked at a university that didn't have summer classes, so they would get 3 months off too. And
Nice.
then we would go to live in North Carolina for 3 months, and
Awesome.
we had a little rowboat. We had little islands. We were on it's called
How nice.
I know, it was really nice.
This was on the sea or was it on
It's on
a lake?
it's called a sound, so it's
Okay.
salt water. It's ocean water, but it's protected. So
I see.
it's like a spit of land. On one side is the ocean, on the other side is the sound, and we were on the sound side.
How lovely.
It was so great, and I remember being like a horrible little child, and I got a really bad jellyfish sting. Did I tell you this?
I don't think so.
So yeah, so I was like swimming off the dock in front of our house, and have you ever been hugged by a jellyfish?
No, thankfully.
It's really horrible.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So
Actually, yes,
yeah.
this is ringing a bell. I don't think you've talked about it on pod,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
So I remember like just screaming, and my dad like jumping in the water and like ripping this jellyfish off of me, and just the pain of that. It was like bee stings all over your body kind of thing.
Yeesh.
So then I was like super anti jellyfish for the rest of my
Yeah.
my life up until
Yeah.
now. I think I'm still not. I mean, I get that they need to exist, just not in my perimeter. So I
Sure.
would like row around in the rowboat, or if it was like a bad day and all the jellyfish, like the wind blew them all in, and I would stand on the dock, so horrible, and scoop them up in my net and fling them into the grass and let them fry.
Wow.
That's my summer experience.
I mean, we've had those jellyfish in blast, but like, I mean, and like, but like, what jellyfish are like, I think what a scourge of the oceans is, if it's my understanding as well. Like, there's so many of them, so you're doing a good service.
Yeah.
The like, jellyfish certainly in our part of the world are rarer, and certainly the poisonous ones are. But like, I have such a memory, so like. And the place that you saw, we didn't actually go there on our trip. You saw the rope bridge.
Yeah.
So there's like,
there's like two islands, and then in between there's a rope bridge, and like the farthest island has a little house on it. And it's like if someone is an introvert and really, really doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah. It's the dream.
That's the ideal location. If there weren't tourists.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, well, this is true. But like that, and I mean like that. I mean, it's to me like such a funny tourist attraction. It's like a rope bridge that you can walk across, and like I remember going because I remember seeing some jellyfishes in the water around there. Like I remember seeing a Portuguese man of war, and it was like it was massive. But like it is very rare you see them in the oceans in our area. Thankfully, well, I mean like based on my experience, at least anyway. But thinking about the rope bridge, it always kind of makes me laugh that one of our tourist attractions was just a rope bridge, but like it's now like really robust and quite, it's very safe. But like my memories of going on that as a child were like it was terrifying. Like it was not. It was pretty rickety. It was a very scary experience going across there. And I kind of like that aspect of it. Do you know what I mean? As much as it terrified me, and I have memories of like walking across there and being. I think I said to you before, I'm not crazy about heights. I definitely have a bit of fear of heights.
Yes.
So it was, and you're pretty high up there, So it's like,
no, it's like it's not. You're high up, and it's literally like something out of Indiana Jones. That kind of rope bridge, where it's like you can see through. And it's made of rope.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And like I just picture like,
me looking down, seeing a big jellyfish.
Yeah, what is it, the katana?
Yeah.
And like.
Yeah, that's true. Indiana Jones style.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. But then like tent camping, or like we couldn't afford anything other than tent camping.
Yeah.
And like in the summer, we would also do like a cross country trip. That's like kind of a thing. But we would stay with my grandparents in Oregon for like, I don't know, sometimes like 3 weeks a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like hauling the dog and the rabbit, and
What
it was more like we would stay in hotels.
what sort of length of a trip are we? So if you're going cross country, you're talking
Eight,
multiple
8 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that with 2 children
Yeah.
who like didn't really like each other and were like, "You can't look out of my window, Mom. She's looking out of my
Oh
window."
yeah.
And then like pushing each other's seatbelt buttons, so your seatbelt would come off, and like that was before we had to wear seatbelts really.
Yeah.
And so like I would lay on the where people put like I don't know if you like if you have like a sedan car, and then you have like people that put like Kleenex and like Beanie Babies or whatever, like
Yes.
in that area. Like I would lay there, and then Kay, my sister, would lay like on the seat. It was like having bunk beds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
and
that's wild.
then my mom would try and like stuff us full of bran muffins, and I will like never ever eat a bran muffin ever again. I would just like rip mine up and like try and get the dog to eat it, and finally the dog was just like, I can't eat these anymore either.
So they're like they're kind of like brown sort of muffins. They're like more fibrous sort of
They're
muffins,
so
right?
fibrous.
Yeah. And is there like I'm sure some sugar in there. Is there any like fruit or anything in them?
No, I mean it wasn't. Oh. No, it wasn't like fruitcakey. It was just bran, maybe some raisins to make it really gross.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
The
I
things
love it.
I will never. I'm clearly having some emotions about this.
Really? Yeah.
We're talking about summer. No, let's talk about these fucking bran muffins.
These flashbacks.
Yeah. So
yeah, I like that. That's.
I never actually stayed in a trailer until we renovated one in like 2014. So I was married, and like actually we were at like we were camping in the forest with they have these like, they're called regional Burning Man events, and I was like 8 months pregnant, and I was like shitting in a bucket, and I was like, fuck this, fuck this, I'm never tent camping ever again. And so
fair enough.
So I was like then 9 months pregnant, and we went and bought a trailer, and like then spent like 6 months renovating it, and then used it all summer. It was so great. We kept that for a long time. Yeah.
I think even I've done tent camping a handful of times, and it's fine. And I think that like, I'm sure this would have been your experience then too, because I know we both share trouble sleeping. Like, sleeping in a tent is rough. I find getting any sort of good sleep in a tent is very difficult.
Yes.
And it just puts me off doing it unless I absolutely have to,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not my favorite thing. We're going camping not this weekend, but the next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this nice place. They've got like hot, and we're getting towards.
They've got facilities and stuff there.
Yeah, they've got like, you could actually rent. We're not doing this for tent camping, but like tent camping with Mike is like, we call it, glamping. We glamp.
I was gonna say, very well supplied. Yeah.
I mean, you have 3 meals plus happy hour and appetizers. Sure. He rigs up Christmas lights so we can always see where we're going.
I love it.
There's like a foot massage chair, not really, but basically like all the things that you could possibly ever need.
That sounds like a good camping experience, honestly. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and he like, that's his love language, is like taking care of people while camping.
Yes.
So everyone calls him Camp Mom, and like these are adults, right? That are like, how do you? Is Mike cooking breakfast? Yeah.
Everybody likes being looked after, honestly.
They do.
They do.
And he's like, I don't know what it is about him, but he's just like, I want to make sure the coffee is ready when people wake up, and that they have, the food that they need, and That's awesome. It's really nice. But also like, I have to help and participate and like do dishes and
Yeah. I think that's it. Like, everybody chips in a bit. It's good. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't means you can enjoy yourself a wee bit.
Have you ever been like camping in a caravan?
I feel like I have. I don't have super strong memories. I've definitely stayed in a caravan, but I have no strong memories connected to it, honestly.
I'll say you also can't sleep in those either.
No. Yeah. No, not at all. They're grim. It's not good.
And it's like someone rolls over and the whole thing shakes.
Yes.
Or like someone gets up to go to the bathroom and like everybody knows it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, you know, and it's, we've talked about it before, you know, people who are incredible, these sound sleepers, and how jealous I am of them. You know, people who, like, even though those things were happening, it would just be like, still get a solid 8 or 9 hours of sleep in the evenings, and it's infuriating, to be
Yep,
honest.
yep, yep, yep. And like when you were talking about the festival and like you're like, I'm gonna just sleep for what I can do and then get up and
Mm-hmm,
go
mm-hmm,
home, and
mm-hmm.
like I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want to be like not like having slept and then like have to deal with people kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like having an exit plan is always ideal.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And also not being afraid to go, you know what, I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
out of here.
yeah,
I've had enough.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No thanks. So that's
We're
all
so
for
good at
me.
summering. Um,
I know, we really are.
so did you ever like? Do you guys have summer camps where your parents are like, "All right, I got to work. Like, you got to go somewhere," or would you
So
just deal with like the boredom?
that's, you know, that's good. That was something I wanted to ask you about as well, because so kind of, but they're not. Because I think my conception certainly of a summer camp in the US is that you go away somewhere. Instead, like youth centers or leisure centers or things like that in your local area would have summer schemes where you would go along to, and there'd be like activities and, you know, whatever, like maybe some sports and whatnot, and then you would, you know, you would just go home at the end of the day. You know, you wouldn't actually be staying away. But like I always kind of loved the idea of a summer camp, and I whenever I whenever I was in North Carolina doing my study abroad thing that summer, friends of mine had volunteered at a summer camp the previous year and were going to do it again, and I wanted to go over there and have that experience, you know, being a counselor. But whatever way it worked, essentially, you know, as these things, I basically would have had to fly home and fly back again, and I couldn't really justify paying two like flights to the US in that year,
Mm-hmm.
so it didn't work out. But I always kind of want like, and I think that's a really evocative idea for people over here, and like, you know, we see summer camp in so many movies and things like that, so it's very exciting,
Yeah,
for us, I think.
I think it's more of like an East Coast thing.
Okay.
Um,
Did you go to any summer
I
camps?
never did, but I was a counselor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How's that?
It was so fucking great, Andy. I'm like, now I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I loved it so much. And I was in this like, I was on the Oregon coast. I did it 3 times. Not
Uh-huh.
for the whole summer, but like a week or 2 weeks. And um, like twice in high school and then once in university. And
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it. It's just, I wish that more people, even I honestly like would get the counselor experience, because it's just, it feels
Mm-hmm.
so good. There's, you know, a humor that people develop. You're all trying to like work through this thing together. You're in a new
Yep.
space, you know. And I was teaching about like estuaries, so like
Uh-huh.
that little
Nice.
area like where like the river and meets the ocean, kind of like,
Yeah.
so, and
Mm-hmm.
also dissecting squid. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, in summer camp?
yep,
That's right.
yep,
Wow.
yep.
I love it.
I loved it though. It was like the best. And I was Nemo before that was a movie, so I got it there first.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you also have a strong
Hmm.
case against
Hmm.
Pixar?
I sure do.
Yeah,
I
it was a
really do.
Pixar? Yeah,
I really
okay.
do.
Yeah, you really...
But
We'll have
like
to look... We'll have...
a lot of the
Doug.
kids,
Doug.
Doug, a lot of the kids, English wasn't their first language, and they were like, "What?
Uh-huh.
What's your name?" And I was like, "Nemo," and they couldn't understand it, so they called me Meatloaf, which I was like, "Yeah."
Also pretty sweet.
And then I
And
did,
that would have been like...
yeah.
Meatloaf would have been a big deal back then.
I know, I know, I know. But then I did, for myself, I was in drama camp, and it was like a few hours a day for like 3 months, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was more my experience.
I think, like, I mean, you know, I think the idea of being away from home for like a few months as a kid is such a kind of wild idea. I mean, like, you know, I know what happens for some kids here, and some kids, like, you know, go to private school and are sent away for things like that. But, you know, certainly with my experience, people I know within my life, the idea of like being a kid and being away for months is mind blowing and very exciting, you know.
And I have a good friend, and she, like, her parents, I think I might have mentioned this to you, like, when I was
Mm-hmm.
visiting, but her parents were really high up in the military, I think. So they moved every year, basically. And so the only constant she had was her summer camp. That's where she would go every
How
summer. That
interesting.
became her family. She would get a fax being like, this is your new address. You're now living in this state, kind of thing. So she was like, I could never say goodbye to anybody. She was like, one time I remember, I was in a new place and I didn't know my address. So I got off the bus and I didn't know where to go.
That must be tough as well. Like,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I
that's,
think,
yeah.
I think, like, for some kids, that's probably what those turn into, is really like it becomes more home than, you know, some than home sometimes. So it's like
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
good. It's good that we have those for those that
I
can
think it's, yeah.
afford
I think it's
to.
a really nice idea. I really do. Like, I definitely, you know, looked at those sorts of things, the envy and stuff like that. But as I say, we did have stuff, and as I say, the summer schemes were good, and you made friends there as well. But yeah, you still had to go home at the end of the
I
day,
know, and it's like
for better, for worse.
it's true. The camp I used to work at, like, you can rent it, so you can
Mm-hmm.
rent them, like, it's called like the mess hall. And they'll cook for you, and then they have, like, like 15 cabins. And I've always thought, like, wouldn't it be cool to do like a week of outdoor school, but like adult summer camp?
Yeah, that is a nice
So
idea. I really like that.
yeah, yeah. So that could be in our future at some point. Just saying.
Oh yeah, now we're talking. Whenever
Mm,
we're like years from now, we have a massive Bendy get together and
that's
we do it
right.
at a summer camp
That's right.
somewhere.
Uh
Yeah,
huh. Uh huh.
I love it. Yeah, do you have anything else that
I
you wanted
do.
to
I wanted
chat
to
about?
know, like, is there music that puts you, that feeling of like your school's about to get out and you're just like that last day of school and you're like, yeah. Like, do you have any like songs that make you think of like summer?
Like 100%, but it's like the most basic bitch answer you could possibly imagine. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
"Summertime" by Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And like, it's so evocative, and like, that song's what, 35, 40 years old, maybe. Scare, it's probably at least 30. I think it was mid-90s, so maybe 30 years old.
Yeah. They're not that old. I guess they are. Are they that old?
They are, like, because like, I mean,
Fuck.
that was before he went solo.
Yeah.
I think it's probably 30 years old.
Oh my
So like, it
gosh.
certainly would have been whenever I was still in school. That
Mm-hmm.
would have been coming out. But like,
Mm-hmm.
it just, I don't know. It's such a strong connection, and and certainly that was a time when I was discovering hip hop and music, that sort of music, and kind of having a connection with that. But like, it's yeah, fantastic. I'm trying to figure out when this was, but yeah, it's that's definitely my song that kind of connects me. And I'm gonna have to think if there are others. Do you have any
I
that spring to
do.
mind?
Basically, like every song in the Dazed and Confused soundtrack.
Yeah, I
It's
hear
like
you.
Sweet Emotion is like
Yeah, that's a good one.
huge. I know. And then for me, I think anything Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I totally get you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I put some on yesterday when we were in the pool, and I was like, yeah, just like, winner, winner, winner,
Yeah,
winner.
yeah.
Sorry, everyone. It's like
Uh,
this and that, and it's like this and like that and like this, and I just like, ugh, so good.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I think so many of his songs, because I'm thinking of "Beautiful" run through my head here. Another
Mm-hmm.
Snoop Dogg song.
Yep.
They have a kind of a brightness to
Yep.
them that I can
Yep.
absolutely see.
Yep.
Okay, are you prepared for some devastating news?
Oh, yes.
"Summertime" was released in May 1991.
1991?
Yeah, that song's nearly 35 years. No, it's 33. What? 34 years old? Yeah, it would be 34 years old. Insane.
It's like
May 1991.
it's
Yeah.
like ready for its midlife crisis almost.
Yeah.
Oh
It
my
is.
god.
So there you
I'm
go.
cry laughing.
I know. It's fine. It's fine. Oh no. So yeah, but like, There are probably others. That's the immediate one that springs to mind. And as I say, the obvious connection, the fact that it's called Summertime is a very basic choice, but it's the choice that I'm making.
I like
and
it.
the song that kind of springs to mind.
I like it.
Uh, yeah.
Tell me about sunscreen in Ireland.
Wait. Sorry, sunscreen?
Sunscreen.
No,
you put it on your skin?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. So like it is just not a thing. Like I mean, I don't remember using it that much when I was a kid at all. Like, and I have some.
Do you
and I
guys
took
have
some.
skin cancer?
Yeah, but like it's just like there's not enough sun for it to really matter, and like people aren't. The people who would be out in the sun have built up. Even farmers and people who spend all their day outdoors have their skin has probably adjusted to it a bit more, and because it's not as oppressive as like as I say, we get a handful of very hot days, so it's not as big a deal, and like you can't absolutely get we call it sun lotion, but like if I think of sun lotion, I think of my trips to Florida, and I think of like I have such a strong association with like a coconut smell on one that I have a strong association with and we would
Probably
probably
Hawaiian
bought it
Tropic.
over there.
Yeah.
Yes. So like I have like one of our trips to Florida, my sort of my sort of sun lotion experience was applying it properly everywhere, like forgetting to apply it on the tops of my feet. And I got blisters all over the tops of my feet. It was insane. Like it was so painful. Like the rest of my body, it was grand, but it was in such pain just as a result of like forgetting to put some on the top of my feet.
That's so sad.
That's that.
Poor little Andy.
I know. Like the tubs of sun lotion that I have here are like 5 to 10 years old because like we don't need that much very often.
So like before school, the kids have to put sunscreen on.
Oh wow!
Because they're outside all the time, and like
makes sense.
They've never had they go to sunny places. They live in a sunny place. I'm proud to say, as of today, and I'm trying not to jinx myself, but they've never had a sunburn.
Good.
But like for swimming, they have full body sunsuits.
Nice, good idea.
And it's like they're 50 SPF.
Yes.
So it's like it's a thing. And like it's definitely.
And I like again don't want to broadly speaking, people in this country are more fair skinned. So if we do take a solution, it would be that the 50 SPF because otherwise you need that or you're toast.
Yeah.
But like we are a fair-skinned, freckled people, that's our defense mechanism against sun, I guess. The minimal sun that we get.
It's just funny because we were going, for a hike, and I was like, "Do you guys like have sunscreen?" And you both looked at me like I was speaking French to you. You're like, "A what?"
I was like, "Yeah, it's supposed to be."
That was your sister. Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah. It was me and my sister, yeah. Like, because it's just not something we think it would be very rare that we have to apply here, and as I say, only like that festival I was at the weekend, or if I know I'm going to be out in an extended period of time I would even consider it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And here it's like,
it's like critical.
Yeah, like to the point where like, oh, we didn't bring sunscreen. We need to go to the store. Or we need to go home because the kids, because kids.
Yeah, 100%. You gotta be careful there. Yeah.
And Mike's an idiot and like never puts it on. And he's like, "What? You gotta burn!" And then he like peels it off and like throws it at the children. So gross.
I love it.
So yeah, so summer.
So good.
Loving it.
So much fun. Loving it, and Dave. No matter what version of it you're getting. I mean, we're probably ready to wrap up on this topic. Is there anything else you would like to touch on before we move on?
I don't think so.
Cool. So then to get to our favourite part of the podcast, as always, I've got to ask you, Beth, what's been bringing you joy over the past? I mean, like, you've only been back home for like 4 days.
So yeah, napping. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, yesterday was American Mother's Day.
Oh yeah.
So it was just, it's so sweet. Like the kids made me cards and Harper made a bracelet. But so, it was, they got me Lego, which I'm stoked about. And
What did you
um
get?
it's like it's kind of what, it's one of the creator ones, so you can turn
Okay.
it into three things. But we were at the Space Museum
Mm-hmm.
before I flew out to see you, and so they got me like a spaceship.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Um, but like Charlie's school had him fill out like the things that he knows about me. Like my mom's name is, she is this many years old. So to my 7-year old, I weigh 8.12 pounds.
Okay, nice.
um, my favorite shirt is, my favorite thing to wear is my Pink Floyd T-shirt. Like he knows me so
Okay, I mean,
well. Uh huh.
that's good.
Uh
That's
huh.
good. Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing to do, he likes to do with me, is snuggle.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
The thing that he feels bad about is he's always interrupting me when I'm busy. Hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, right? So it was just like, it was sweet. Then we went to the flea market, which is like
Uh-huh.
in San Diego. It's all outdoor. It's like outside of like a big stadium. They
Uh-huh.
turned the parking lot into like this whole thing. So yeah, we go. I talk about it a lot. So we did that
Yeah.
and went there, and it was fun, and like
Good. That
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
awesome. Lovely.
What was nice was it was really like low stress, low key, like
Yeah.
not like a big deal at
Yeah.
all. And I don't like being center of attention, so it was
No.
just the right amount of like adoration.
Yeah.
So
Like, yeah, my mom, even these days, is much more about experiences with us, just
yeah,
spending time with us. So we like, and like, even she doesn't want to do anything on the day because, our Mother's Day is a different date than yours. It happened a few months ago, but like, she would prefer, um, like we take her out for a meal at a different time or lunch at a different time, that sort of thing.
yeah,
So, it's always, but it's nice. It's
yeah.
nice. That sounds lovely. So yeah, like because
What about
something
you?
that's been on my list for a while is I've been playing a game called, I think you would really like this.
Okay.
It's called A Little to the Left,
I've never heard of
and it's a
this.
game. I would be surprised if you have. So it is a game about organizing things. Essentially, you are given a screen, and it's like glasses with a pattern on them, or like a set of books. It doesn't tell you how you should organize them. It's kind of relying on you using your intuition to figure out how it wants these things to be organized, and then organizing them. And then, like, sometimes when you've done that, a cat will come in and just like knock it all away. It's pretty incredible. And you know, I feel like that's a universal experience. In terms of like getting things lined up nicely for
There's
people.
a metaphor
And
there.
yeah, there is, and it just taps into that in such a kind of beautiful way. So it's definitely making me really happy and just kind of scratching that sort of, probably like reptile brain itch, where I'm like, everything must look neat, together. And also then, sprinkling that with the little chaos of a cat that comes in and kind of fucks everything up afterwards.
Knocks it off.
Yep.
Have you had cat?
Just
You've never had a cat, right?
no.
They do that.
Though I've been around them a decent chunk. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And they just like hop out on something and they're just like, I'm gonna knock this over. And you're just like, all right.
Fuck this thing. I do kind of love that about cats. They're just like, they're just such excellent assholes at times.
It's kind of like when, like, have you ever seen like a baby sitting in a high chair and they realize that if they drop something, like gravity happens, and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
and it makes a cool
interesting.
noise.
Yeah, it's like that with cats, except for like they never grow out of that
Yeah.
phase ever. They're
As
just
soon as
like,
they're like,
yeah,
this is me, this is my hobby from
yeah,
now on.
yeah, knocking shit off.
My only kind of experience was whenever I was like in Australia and I was living in a hostel. There was a hostel cat that would have like sets of kittens every like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
So we would have about 6 to 8 kittens in the house for like big chunks of time, and it was like delightful, like truly enchanting. Like, you know, you would just come home from a hard day at work, you'd pick up a kitten, you'd set it in your chest, you'd fall asleep, the cat would fall asleep, it rocked. But like, even seeing them at such a young stage and such a formative age, how immediately they kind of dialed into like, you know, play and trying to play games and trying to play games with each other. And like, I saw one of them, like three of them were like walking in through the back door, and one of them was like waiting at the side of the door and kind of had seen them coming, was just like, I'm going to surprise attack them. And just like, it wasn't like a kind of coordinated attack, it was just like it saw them coming and then it just like threw its body like star shape into the air and just like at them, and then just chaos ensued. It was like, this rocks. I love it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, we had
at
the college I worked at, we had a cat that was always having kittens. Have I told you this?
Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
Okay, so I was always like, I'd be like, there's 5 kittens out the window, and we'd all go out and like corral them, and then I'd try and adopt them out, and then I'd take them to the shelter to get adopted. My mom has one, like my friend, but many of my friends have these kittens that are now adults. The cat's name was, we called her the white whale. She was this little like black and white cat. And it took us 3 years. Her name was Mrs. Tuxedo Patches. It took us 3 years to actually capture her and take her in and get her fixed, and then like re-released her because she was feral by that point. But I love cats.
Yeah, no, they're good dudes. I mean, you know, and I am such a dog person, but cats also rock.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
One day, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah. So yeah. We'll save that for our cat episode.
We haven't done a dog episode.
I mean, we did a pets episode, but like pets, we do probably.
Like, I think we can like go deep.
Yeah, we can definitely get tons of info or content out of dogs for sure. But yeah, that's for another time, I think. So yeah, I think as always, we'd like to remind you to follow, like us, and all things. You talked about that a bit at the top.
Yep.
Go to our website, wherever you listen to us. You know, like, subscribe, whatever. Anything else?
If you want to leave a rating,
yeah,
people care about those things. We don't really,
5
but
stars.
You know, 5 stars or 4
across the board.
4.5.
Yeah, but only if that's the maximum that they go to on whatever
right.
site you're using. Just max stars, whatever it is. But yeah, thank you. Cool. So yeah, so as always, then we would like to remind you to stay Bendy.
I started way too high. I started way too high, and then I had nowhere to go.
Out.
I had nowhere to go. I can't go that high.
No, for next time. All right. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.